Hey class, welcome to our first case study. We're going to go over the Pelican one in case 1, week 1. If you haven't done so, go ahead and read the case. So go ahead and pause the video and read the case study. And if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that now. All right. So if you haven't read the case study, if you've read the case study, go into week 1, learning activities. You'll see that there is a file there called Pelican. Go ahead and download that, and you should get that. If should get this Excel sheet that has A through H at the top with all those informations, and then we'll go ahead and go through there. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to do that. All right, great. So what we're going to do, you've read the case study, we're going to look at some key statistics and figuring out what we need to do so that we can do this case study together. So the questions that we first get is that we need to present a percent frequency distribution for key variables. These are our key variables at the top. So we have types of customer, items, net sales, method of payment, gender, marital status, and age. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you how to do a couple of these using some formulas in Excel. I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these here so that I can walk you through it. So whenever we have a word, we want to use the COUNTIF statement. So the COUNTIF statement is if we go ahead and we push our FX here, that's our function button. We go over here and we can just type in our COUNTIF. Might be a little different for our PC users. I'm using a Mac in here, and so in our COUNTIF part of it, it will come up and I'll say go ahead and I will look at the range, and so I want to do types of customers. So I'm going to look at promotional versus regular, okay, and sometimes it does do that. So I'm just looking at this one type of range here and then the criteria. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the criteria in quotes, and I'm just going to type in promotional. I'm going to misspell it with an extra L in there for purposes so that you can see what happens. And then it'll say, do you want this correction? I'm going to say yes because it's not anything to do with my misspelling. And it'll say 0. Okay. So if you don't have the right spelling in there, it will definitely kick it back. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to kick it back and change it to 1L, and we should have 70. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to lock in this, my B's in there. So I locked in that whole column. That column will not change. I will go ahead and I will drag it, and then I'm going to change the name here just to be easier. I'm going to change this to regular, and then you'll see that we have in here we have our, oops, I need to switch these because it switched on me, regular, and we have our promotional, and it adds up to 100, and it's perfect. All right, so the next one here is that we have a sales, and they want us to break it down under $25 increments. All right, so what I did is I went 0 to 24.99, and then 25 to 49.99, and I went all the way up to $200. Well, Excel isn't nice and pretty, and it doesn't give us this way of just saying sort this from 0 to 24.99. We have to actually put this in a formula or the language for Excel. And so to do that, I make 2 different columns, and this isn't something that you want to put into your report. You want to hide these, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But go ahead, or at the end of the video, I'll show you how to do that so that you can have nice tables in your paper. So here is what we're going to do is use a very long, complex, somewhat formula, okay? But it beats us going through here and counting how many are between 0 and 24. So I'm going to have you look at this, and we're going to do the sum product. And I have some customization, so it can't go really through the sum product formula. So in here is to type in the sum product, and I'm going to go through the net sales, and I lock in those cells. So you see D2, is locked in all the way to D101. I have two dollar signs in here to lock it up. It's the same as just using a single one. And then I go ahead and I say less than or equal to 0. See, K13 is 0. And then I times it by, here, the same, sorting it, less than or equal to L13, which is 24.99, okay? And when I do that, I get 7, okay? And then adding those all up, I get 100. And if I move up my thing, I'll see that the sum is 100 for you, all right? So there we have it, all right? So that's the way to do regular or promotional or words versus numbers in there. One of the things that we want to do next is a pie chart. You're going to make sure that each one of your tables, you have type of customer, items, so how many items they bought, net sales, methods of payments, gender, marital status, and age. So you need to break those down in that frequency distribution. I only did the first two to show you. I'm going to show you how to now do one more frequency distribution, because part of the second question is a pie chart or bar graph to show how to do it. So I went back and I did my count if. If you go over here and you look at this, let's just exit out here so I don't cause a problem. And you look here and I say method of payment. I looked at this and I found out that we had a couple of methods of payment. It was Discover, Card, Visa, American Express. Okay, so I did my count if because it was a word, and I went in there and I'm going to lock those in for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag this down. And then I'm going to go in there and I'm going to change the words. And hopefully I have I spell everything correctly. I was going to type it in MasterCard. And make sure I have the right capitalizations in there as well. And then we'll go ahead and type in American Express. And then our last one here is our American Express or our MasterCard. And we should see that this adds up to MasterCard. That one did something wrong. Let's go look at the spelling of this. Maybe I spelled it wrong, MasterCard. Doesn't look like I spelled it. Oh, yes I did, because I had it as 2 words. See, and it did 0. That one word, 14. And then we'll look at this and we'll see that the count is, the sum is 100, or you can just auto sum it as well. And so we can put the sum in here to just do that. Okay, now they want us to do a pie chart or graph. I'm going to go ahead and lower this in here. On mine, it is insert here, and then I'm just going to do a bar graph. And there we go. And then I can go in here and change the title of it as, because I didn't highlight it when I did it, method of payment. There we go. Now I have number 2 answered as the question. All right, so the next one is that we're looking at here is a let's read the question. The cross tabulation of types of customers, regular customers versus net sales. A little bit harder, but we're going to go ahead and we'll look at this formula here. I have the same sum product here that I used originally up here in this question as well. But what I did was I added another subproduct in here, and I added the formula to go ahead and look at it to be promotional versus regular. So I went in here and make sure you add the parentheses, and then there's 2 dashes in there, and then you're going to add the parentheses, and then you're going to highlight. We'll just go ahead and highlight, or lock these in, not highlight. The correct word is in there. And that is our B2 to B101. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the word, and I'm going to just take this whole prop from here. I'm going to exit out. I'm going to go ahead and put it here, and I'm going to change this word to regular. And you'll see in there that it is 2, and I can go ahead and look up there and check, and I'll just go ahead and put in here the sum, and then it's 9. Alright, now to do this for the next one, I'm going to do the same thing, but see how I'm going to take now this part of the formula. So I have our other part of the formula that I'm going to use. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to add that same formula part that I had at the beginning with that comma. And then you should be able to get 25 to 50 broken down by exactly that 30 number. So it should equal 30 at the bottom. I'm going to let you try to do that one on your own. Alright, so the next one is a scatter diagram. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here, and I'm going to highlight all this. And I'm just going to Control C, copy that, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in question. We'll go to a new chart. Question 4 here, and I'm going to Control paste it. And then I'm going to go look here at our data part of it, so I can look at and see the thing that we need to do is that we need to have the relationship between net sales and customers' age. Alright, so the 2 things that I need to do is to delete these 2 and delete these. And I'm going to insert a row, changing the age over. It just makes it easier for when I highlight these, and I'm going to take age, go all the way down to my 100. I'm not highlighting those numbers. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click insert, and I'm going to click our scatter diagram here, and then you'll see that we have our net sales and our ages at the bottom. So in there is our net sales and our ages, and based off of that, and you can add something in there too. So let me show you. If we go ahead and we add that in there, I can make this in this as well, and I can insert that and go back and insert that as well, and you see that, and then I can text options that, and I can fill it in so that we can have more of a title so we know what's at the bottom. And I can go in here as I click in this and access options. I'm going to just move up my Excel a little bit higher so that you can see it, and I can have my labels in here, and I'm going to take away this one, and then I can have it high and low in there, and you can change this around in there as well in decimal places for that, so that we can have those positions in there and categories that we want to name them as well. So in there is our chart, and so we can add those and look at this, and you can play with this as much as you want. so that you can have a nice chart and have it so that you can place it in there the way you want it in our paper. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. I'm always here to help. We answered all 4 of the questions for the case study. Please look at the Word document that has the outline as well.